Well everyone, we're here for another unboxing, this time from RNCBMX. Without any further delay, let's get right on into it. Opening the box that, honestly, it's kind of hard to believe that there's bike parts in this box, but there are. So let's get on into opening it right now. So in this box we have a spindle. We have, hard to believe that these are pegs with how light they are. And then we have 2 pedals. So let's set the box aside and start talking about, what do we talk about first? Let's go with the pegs. So let's open these up. My goodness. These pegs are crazy light. They're also pretty thin here. They have a ton of anti-rotate pin options. Let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 options for anti-rotate. That is nuts. And to give you some details about these are made from, let me go in here, 300M high strength aerospace grade steel. One of the strongest steels ever produced. It has 300,000 tensile strength. And on the Rockwell scale of hardness, from like graphite, super soft, all the way up to diamonds, and if there's anything beyond that, this is a 59, which is super hard. And that 300M is maraging steel, same material as the cranks that we've talked about previously. So according to the website, it gives these pegs the weight of a titanium peg, but with the grinding performance of a steel peg. These come in at 3.9 ounces per peg, and the size on these is 4.5 by 32 millimeter on the OD, or the outer diameter. So 4.5 long, 32 on the outer diameter. And with all of that, I'm sure you're wondering, what is the cost on these bad boys? Well, honestly, I looked at the price on these and I was like, wow, that is a lot less than what I was expecting, because this material is expensive and not super easy to work with. So I thought it was gonna be crazy, but they are $60 per peg, which honestly, when you compare that to something like the DK pegs or the Nowhere BMX Park Rat pegs at like $45 for the Park Rat pegs, I'm not 100% sure on the DK, but I know they're up there. $60, $15 more for a super exotic material that is not gonna be very easy to work with how hard the material actually is. That's a lot more reasonable than I thought it was gonna be, which is great. And you can even save 10% on that with the code BRANT when you check out. That saves you 10% and it helps me out at the same time. So 10% off of $60 a peg, you buy 2 of them, that's $12 off. You're getting close to that $110 mark, not talking about shipping, and that becomes even more reasonable. So there you go. 300M maraging steel pegs, 4.5 inches, 32 millimeter outer diameter, 3.9 ounces per peg, and I'm curious to see how these hold up. They are thin, but this material is super hard. And so with that, you can see the thickness there. It's gonna be interesting to see how they hold up. The thickness at the axle, see how these go over time. And I've been riding the Alienation Descent pegs. Those are my chromoly steel peg of choice from Alienation. I'm gonna be putting these on just to see how these hold up. Obviously, when we're talking about these boutique BMX parts, like these pegs or these pedals or the cranks, we're talking about something that's for a very specific person and not just everybody. The parts are out there already that are made for everyone. There's budget parts of different price brackets out there already. This is something different though. Here we have the RNC Slim 3D pedals. So these pedals, as we open up the second one here, are made from 6061 aluminum, and they have a concave design to them. As if you took like a sphere and just pushed it into the flat surface. It's this way and this way so that your foot just comfortable and spread out on that platform. But where these differ from other pedals out there is in the exotic materials and makeup of things like the spindle. So he included a spindle here so we could take a look at it. Let's pull this one out here and I'll read from the website so I can make sure I get it right. So the spindle for this is a hybrid spindle. So it's got maraging 350 steel being used for the threads in the bushing area. So that would be this piece right here. Then you have a titanium rod that connects to the outer bearing for the weight saving. So this is the titanium right here. So the maraging 350 steel has an actual stronger tensile strength than even the material for these pegs. 300 versus 350. 350,000 tensile strength. The highest of any metal is what the website says. So it says that it gives you the weight of titanium without sacrificing strength. So I want to talk a little bit about the bearing makeup in these. And to do that, I need to take them apart. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for this. But let's pull this cap off here, which is titanium. There's an 8mm. There is a bearing in here. So this bearing here, the outer bearing, is a dual row angular contact bearing. They have both a radial and axial support. Interesting. I'm not 100% sure what exactly that means, but it says that these are unlike other sealed bearings that companies use. And unfortunately, I don't have anything to be able to take this nut off to pull the whole spindle out of here, but let's keep reading from the website. So the bushing, that would be on the inside here. The bushing on the inside has outer and inner O-ring seals, which would be this O-ring right here, and then I'm assuming there's an O-ring on the inside somewhere in here to keep the grease in the bushing area. As I said already, these are titanium end caps. These are available in 2 different sizes. So these are available in the XL, which is this size. That is 125 by 120, or at least roughly this, and you can see the size comparison there. That would be the XL. This would be the large, which are 110 by 110 millimeters. Honestly, these look really nice. The thinness of them is great. The profile and the shape of the pedal, I think, looks really good. Definitely aesthetically pleasing whenever you're taking a look at these pedals, and I think they look good on a bike. But there's also more details out here. So the weight on these is 328 grams. And then for the extra large, they are 355 grams. As we take a look at these and appreciate them even more, there are a ton of color options available. So we have clear and black coming in at normal price, which is $200 for these. And if you get any other color besides clear or black, it does carry a $50 upcharge for that anodizing process. And when it comes to the colors, it can take up to 5 business days for that anodizing process to complete if you want something other than black or raw, just so you know. But these pedals are 100% made in the USA, and the price point, like I said previously, is not for everybody. It's something that you know you're getting a boutique BMX part made from exotic materials. I know that 6061 aluminum isn't exotic, but the titanium end caps and rod on the spindle, as well as the 350M maraging steel of this insert here on the pedal, it's all stuff that is not super easy to source and work with. And With that being said, that's where you get that $200 price tag for the pedal itself in a base color. So if this sounds like something that you might be interested in, website will be linked in the description down below. I'm going to put these on my bike just to test them out. Throw them on the trails bike. We're going to get some trails action here soon. Freaking stoked for that. But with that being said, shout out to Ryan at RNCBMX for always coming up with new stuff and trying to make stuff the best of his ability. I know people come to me with some of those communication things, and I try to help out when I can. Just understand that when you're ordering from RNC, you're ordering from a one-man operation. He makes all of this with the pedals. He makes all of this with the pegs. He makes everything with the spindles that go into the pedals, and his cranks, and his stems, and the bolts, and the sprockets, and designs it, and has to get material, and also live a life, take care of animals, like take care of his pet dog, stuff like that. So just trying to give a little bit of context and understanding for these things, and it's a boutique product. This is not mass produced somewhere else and brought here. 100% made by him individually for every single part. So with that being said, if any of this interests you and you guys want to pick any of this up, make sure you use the discount code over on rncbmx.com. Link down in the description to the 3D Slim pedals as well as the 300M pegs. And I look forward to trying these out on my bike just to see what happens. So thanks for watching. Thanks to RNC for sending me these to talk about and ride. And hopefully we'll see you guys next time for another video. Goodbye.